So, I needed to make this video and help support my mother about some of the things that are kind of going on. And I wanted to make this and clear this up because even in this photo, you can tell that my mother looks sick. She doesn't look like she's all there. And I want to say this because I don't know who the biological father is with Eric. And I'm going to say this because I don't know if there was cameras inside Eric Quintero's dad's house. And I've known Eric Quintero since I was about 16 years old. This was the first time I met him. And I only met him a couple of times. And he seemed to play off everything. He was always really relaxed and sort of cool. And, but I wanted to say, this because I didn't go to his house until I was 18, went there once with Chris Martinez, and then after that I started going to his house and hang out, not a whole lot often, but I've been quite a bit of times. And I think it's important because when I was, I knew how his dad behaved, and I knew how Eric behaved, and I knew David, which is his brother, because I had him in a couple of classes, and which is David Quintero, and he went to college, worked at GameStop, and became an IT. He works for IT department. And to my understanding, what happened is I remember all of a sudden when I was about 19, right after Marco was born, this woman showed up. And I remember how she behaved and was very interested in me. She engaged in me in a way that she was sort of trying to behave almost kind of like motherly-like and sizing me up. And she, she's a Mexican. I don't know if she's a transgender or not, could have been. But she was very engaging to size me up and very interested in me. And the reason I say this is because I'm very sort of sensitive to the situation, because I remember feeling like, why is this person, because you think it's like a Mexican culture, and it is, but this is something else different. Because if I find out that Eric's biological father is the same way as Eric's, then hell, there's going to be an apocalypse of Armageddon that's going to happen. Because nobody knows the stories and how intensive. This is just a fact. Because I can tell you this, it's going to be a guaranteed rape that they did on my mother. Now, I'm not trying to point fingers because I don't know the situation, but I do know how David was engaging about the situation toward my mother, toward his mother. And I found it always weird because he said he had really bad conflict with his mom, and he was always asking me these questions about it, how he felt, and he said, "Oh yeah, man, I know how you are with your mom too, man. My mom too." And so I don't know what the circumstances is with this situation, because I do recall, I remember that when I was 19 years old. I was 20 years old. I had just got my own apartment, and I was 19, late 19. This is after I've been to Eric's a number of times, and I noticed. I remember going to David's and giving him my tower, my computers, because he was trying to clean it up and tune it up and seeing what was wrong with it. And I gave him my computer so he can do and fix whatever it is. And I remember that his dad used to build, he told me that his dad used to build computers all the time for a living, and I'd always see at the corner of I used to always look at the corner of the room, and he used to have all this computer shit, and he was building computers for people, and he was getting money for it, like on a side job, and he did it as a hobby, and that's what Eric told me he did. I didn't know what he did for a living to earn that kind of money, to buy a house like that. So what happened is I remember when I first saw his dad like that. He was never scared of me. He was never intimidated by me up until after Marco was born. And I remember going in there, and his dad was like ashamed that he had done something personally to me. And this is one of the reasons why I have this speculation about this. Like, he had done something to me that was personal. And that's the way, like, he remember him looking at the computer and kind of like, like, and he never behaved this way. And I always called him, "How you doing, Mr. Quintero?" Always really respect. And he did this numbers of times. Every time I came over, I'd see him with his computer, and it was like 15 times. And sometimes I just see computer stuff over there. But I remember when I was, like, after several years passed by, I remember finally walking into the living room, or walking into the room, and I remember his dad sitting on the love seat, and he kind of looked at me like, "Oh, you're kind of like, you're a man, I know that, tú sabes la onda, right?" Kind of, but his dad didn't really speak Spanish very much that I know of. But I know that when Eric's mom was there, she was very engaging and interested in me. And I say this because I think it's very important for me to be able to say something about this. Because if I find out, because Eric told me that his mother showed up and was here in Vegas, and she was a crackhead. And when I looked at her and talked to her the first time I met this person, I was like, damn, this, she seemed like a drug addict. And she didn't seem very motherly like. And Eric said that his mom didn't give a fuck and abandoned them when they were kids, and abandoned David Quintero, and that's why he hated his mom. And he said his mom was smoking drugs and crack. But I think it's important for me to say something, because if I find out that my mother either slept with someone on that side, or is the same biological father as Eric, which is weird because that would make Eric's dad really old. That means Eric's dad would be extremely old, because Eric's dad was, at the time, Eric right now is like Quintero, he's 3 years older than me. 3 years older than me. And that would make him, that his dad, his biological father, would be really old by now. Really old if he's still alive. If that's the case. And it's one of the reasons I don't think it would be, but you never know. So I think it's important for me to say something about this, because I don't know the story, and who's not telling me. And I can tell you this: if that is the case, David, Eric, and that entire family swarmed on me along with everyone else. I had no fucking idea. So I'm saying this because I don't know who the biological father is, and I would have been persecuted because of this. You don't understand how bullying this is going to be. You have the psychologist. It doesn't matter of what they try to fix. They don't care. They want to put everyone together. They don't care about the details about who's going to be a higher ranking or any of this, and who really did good or what. They don't give a shit, because they know how my character is I was going to, with all the friends and anyone, I was going to go ape shit, and it's to the cemetery. I'm going to take this, then I'm going to drag him down to the fucking rat hole because of what they did, and how I was treated, and how I'm sacrificing and everything because the president and all these other people are doing this to me, and you think you're going to feel sorry for me? No, you get the fucking Bible and you go to the fucking cemetery. That's where you're going to fucking go. I'm not saying this to the Quintero family, not at all. But you have to be that way, because that's what they're going to do to me, and that's what they did to my mother. Well, unfortunately, it's not going to work anymore. So then I have to be submissive, because this is why I talked about how Sarah Cooper and Ken Cooper, because I have so many people. I can never explain to you of what they did to my mother. My mother, even in this photo, is unhealthy, really bad, like mentally. You know what I think? I believe that when I was talking to my mother, that someone else was sitting in my position, training her and helping her, like a professional nurse or someone that was teaching her how to talk and how to learn and feel comfortable, so she could finally come and be able to talk to me. And I say this because this is what Sarah Cooper did, is she treated my mother beyond anything you would be able to describe of what a worthless bitch is. Because Sarah Cooper is chasing for the attention, for herself to feel gratified of importance that she did anything good for my mother, and she's responsible for putting me in the picture and all this other shit, and she just did on the side things for my mother. No, she didn't. So I wanted to say something about this because no one understands the suffering of what Sarah and Ken did to not just my mother, but me and the internal family, because they pick it off with other celebrities and all this other shit that goes on. Nobody understands the horrors of this, because I was basically murdered and killed off for Patricia Gardina and the gay community and all the gays that are circling around that situation, and for, Barack Obama's transgender daughter and all the gays that goes along, because they control and buy everything. But I can tell you that when I was talking to my mother, I felt like my mother was being trained. This is what I would say trained. I felt like there was a therapist that has been working directly with my mother on how to be better. Because there's therapists not just for people that are physically disabled, but mentally disabled. Like, they teach you how to read again, they teach you how to do all these things and how to engage, because my mother's so traumatized. Even in this photo, you can see how my mother's going bald and losing her hair. I notice how my mother's very round, her body shape, and she's trying to be confident, and I can tell that her legs are wounded and she may be in pain, that her kneecaps may be in pain, because she wants to help Ken and Sarah Cooper, help Michelle, and how they were angels and they get a good life and they get the white story. And so does, especially Kenneth, hangs out with, Julian, and then he's, family and all the angel work. But you have no idea how penetrating this is, because I am the sole responsible person in the entire house experience, storyteller of everything. What they did is to come into my house and my family and fuck my mother in the ass, to tell her, bitch, no, I tell you who the angel is. I tell you how I get away and get a better life. Fuck you. That's what Kenneth was doing. Is to dismiss the number one frontline heavy armored person that's aiming the gun at them, and that's me. And that's why they wanted to put me down, and they used their workers like Gary Gwynn, Mike Standish, many people at my job sites, and the police officers. So I wanted to say this because whoever's in charge now, the time's gone. I'm never going to get my mother back. How Sarah Cooper is going to give me my mother and Ken Cooper, and then Kenneth hangs out with Julian and all this. Well, that's President Barack Obama. Fuck you. That's the whole thing is about. It's done. It's over. There's no victory for me. It's just be obedient, learn how to talk to the president when he gives me his shit rewards for Sarah Cooper. Oh, it's just family and family feud. No, you don't understand how serious and how bad this is, and how they have such a penetrating intention to do harm, that all these people want to feel sorry for them and are changing the story. And I'm bullet shot sniper when I say about this, and how accurate and pinpoint I am about this, and how nasty they were. My mother looks completely severed and broken in every fucking malicious way beyond anything you can imagine. And I know who my mother is, but this was about Sarah Cooper and Michelle and Kenneth, and how fuck you, at least your son isn't going to get it, but fuck you, transgender power. Oh, President Barack Obama's like Ken Cooper. But they killed me off and they threw me to the trash can. So I think it's important, because I believe in good and bad, and I believe in God, and just not the religious beliefs of the normal custom of what most people believe. But I think it's important, because you have a dead child, my disease, and how I'm going to die in front of Sarah and Ken, and I had never known about these rapes. Oh, how did you remember, Hector? You don't understand how I'm being trained, and how my mother's doing things, and how Frankie's doing things, that I'm evolving like this. I have nothing to hide. I have nothing to keep these a secret in any kind of way, to try to tell you, oh, I'm going to get the money, oh, I'm going to get it. I'm willing to take a lie detector test. I'm willing to do anything, whatever it takes, to prove this situation. That Sarah and Ken knew that they could point that gun at me, because they knew about the rapes at the age of 5 years old, and they continued to do this even after, because they know hip-hop. Keynote 97 on the beat, he's Keynote with the rap artists, he's true black, true white, true black. Oh, we all come together with hip-hop and 50 Cent because of Kenneth. Oh, because of Michelle with Dana White over at the UFC president being a star ring girl. Whatever the situation is, it isn't going to change that the president ordered this to shoot my mother. and to gut her like a pig and like a worthless piece of shit for the white supremacy of Ken Cooper and feeling sorry for a worthless bitch like Sarah. When someone is doing this type of behavior and has had all the money in the world, you can never, I'm telling you, it's all about control. It's all about, I'm the one that put you there. I'm the one that did this. Oh, but because I had no existence. This is the equivalent to someone getting a gun and or getting a bat and bashing your fucking head in a total rage and killing your fucking family for this piece of shit motherfuckers that had done this. The President of the United States is the one that gave the fucking dead body and keys to Sarah and Ken and that goddamn piece of shit family, because the white supremacy and that team that was going and doing that. You don't understand that this is all focused on homosexuality, gathering, and gays. That's all this is. Shoot the enemy that met Michael Jackson and the president, and we'll get the president to clean up. That's all it is. And I wanted to say this because I can't fix anything anymore. I got gray hair. I'm getting old. As you can see, I had trouble catching my breath sometimes, even talking. Did the best I could. But I know at the end of the day, I did what I could for my mother. When I look at this picture, so much of this picture is I feel my mother's pain. My mother looks like she has gone through so much pain and suffering that this was for Sarah and Ken and Michelle. Oh, you just because you're mad because you want to blame Michelle. Oh, no, it's because you just want to blame Madison and give it to Madison. Remember how Madison was claiming my dead sister's body over at Walmart? Oh, I'm sorry. It's for the white supremacy. No, it's for the supremacy. Now, at least you got the good. Because the idea of it is, I think that Madison was pregnant whenever that happened. So she's engulfing the spirituality of my dead sister in order to be able to utilize it and gather that energy and use it for her disposal for a possible good luck charm. But I think Madison got pregnant and had a baby. That's what I think happened. But, I don't know the situation. But as far as anything goes with this, I'm more than loving and helping to my mother. I don't have any more push to allow to do anything with that. So I know I did the right thing. They're going to fix things the way that they want. They're going to make sure that Keynote's going to get through what he wants. He already made the effects on Jillian. He already penetrated me. With all this garbage shit for hip-hop, as I'm living like a fucking filthy pig, but at least you didn't. I take you down with me, and then fuck you to the end of life. So, it's very horrible because I can't express enough the turmoil that they did to me at my job sites when you're young. And that's why. Because I'm going to tell you the secrets of, homosexuality with, Ken. Or I'm going to tell you how Sarah Cooper, it's not going to change anything. The president ordered this to mutilate my mother, like the stupid bitch that Ken and Sarah Cooper turned her out to be. It's not going to change anything. This is the only mother that I had that when the World Trade Center happened, I didn't have the bet. I wasn't a perfect child. But there's unimaginable things and things that happened along with my mother. But don't understand it was easy to make me look like an enemy because it was fitting for everyone else to say who was going to get the money and take charge because she's not there anymore. This is about Ken Cooper. This is about Kenneth Madison making sure the white supremacy and taking over the World Trade Center credit for the White House and the white power and for the black niggas. I can't do anything about this. I don't like politics. I don't like political power. I believe in helping the country, helping the world, and helping my environment. But I can't do anything about this anymore. I wish my mother... There's such a turmoil because her twins are involved. I can't even imagine what Marco and Julian went through. Because Julian was probably taking Marco to go get haircuts, and was probably taking him to the grocery store, and kind of fathering him a lot of ways. And what happens is my mother's not there no more. And they're mutilating Gary Gwynn, Mike Standish, Michael Moody. You got these piece of shits at my job sites. Oh, we got that bitch right in place. I don't care. You met Michael Jackson? Well, okay, you're going to get Michael Jackson now for the gays. The gays won again. But it's not going to change anything. My mother went through unbearable amount of suffering. It's just, it hurts me when I look at that picture sometimes, but it's the only gratitude that I get toward the connection toward that she's my mother. And it's something that I remember with. Something that I remember really well with my mother. She's my mother. It's painful to know how Sarah Cooper had intentionally, because nobody cared about the details, don't understand what they did with the intentions with that information was strictly to keep it a secret and to just hurt, cause pain. I'm in control. Fuck you into the cemetery. Unfortunately, see, I have to engage with this, but it doesn't matter because I was the one experiences horrors at my job site, just living on the streets. As much as money as I had at times, for short periods of times, it was only just to clean up my past and give credit because of what had happened to my mother. Shooting machine guns, military, the death and casualty, going to Auschwitz, going to different countries, looking at the suffering, going to Mexico, get some heritage from my mother, being proud a little bit, being shamed, being raped. I'm her only straight son. Yeah, you're going to get Sarah and Ken Cooper because they don't got a straight one. Oh no, I'm going to tell you who boss is. Oh, well then fuck you to the cemetery. And they will do that. You don't understand that when somebody exercises killing people, they get used to doing that repeatedly. And they did that to my mother. They had no right to keep these types of secrets. It was to hurt my mother. And they're lying. He's using his detective and police officer badge as a false motive to say that, oh, he knew detective work. It was just, you have to keep quiet. No. There is no more. I could never express. I mean, I just like these visions of just crushing fucking to death. I mean, I'm going to give you a fucking rope to kill yourself. To fucking hang yourself, Sarah and Ken. And, hoping you fucking kill yourself. I'm so fucking mad at times because of what they did to my mother. You have no idea of what them doing this, what this does to my mother. Because guess what? You're going to get Dana White and the president and the UFC fighter. Oh no, guess what? I'm going to tell you who gets a Ferrari. Okay, well, this is what you're going to get. You get nothing. Oh, okay, well, just send it over there with Michael. Send it over there with Richard. Oh, it's not racist anymore, is it now? Oh, okay, well, now it's about... Well, that's what you did. I don't produce blue eyes. Anything that I ever produce is always going to cause it to be toned down in color. My skin is pretty white. My face, I got probably dark arms because I tan a lot. But if I had like a baby with a girl like I saw like Haley Spades, right? I know that our children would have been white because my mother had a child, two twins, and whoever that guy was knocked my mother's. I mean, their twins are white and pale. Their same skin tone are whiter than. I mean, they're white, like ghost white. Both twins are. So they're real white, but they got black eyes and black hair like me. It's kind of like Addams Family Value, right? The skin pale and black eyes, but I have a tan to me, a little bit of a tan. People don't like that, because that's why they say, yeah, you too, because I don't create that, but I do create babies, because I'm straight. Oh, but guess what? I can't have children. I'm infected with HIV. Oh, you see how Ken Cooper feel? Oh, I didn't mean to do that. You see who's stupid? And they know exactly what they're doing. You have no idea, and it bothers me so much because I have no... It's an empty void, of what they did. Of me being blindsided like this, and no. My mother does not want Sarah and Kenneth making any participation decisions in Julie and me or my mother, or let her alone. You don't understand. She didn't want us to associate with that. But when I know that my mother's with her boyfriend, you're going to get Sarah Cooper again. The president ordered this. There's no more shaming at the magnitude because they're already dead. They already killed me. Whatever, it's so poison. You gotta understand, when somebody wants to poison your mind and life and youth in life, they'll do it when you're young. because you can't go back anymore, because that's what you're going to get, and that's what I gave you. I gave you a shit life. You be grateful because you're going to learn gratitude when you get older. But you never got to experience the life you should have and what you really should have gotten because of pigs like that. So it's jealousy, it's envy, and it comes from very bad sources. But they don't pass down the baton when you get lucky enough to build a full beard like this and hair like this at 40 years old, with a body at 5'11", athletic. Those are God-given abilities, and it went to waste. I could make beautiful babies. If I had a baby with a beautiful woman, they're guaranteed almost that in most cases, you never know, God could give you, something wrong in your children's life, but having a healthy baby, just as long as the baby is born healthy, I would create very beautiful looking babies. Like, I would have handsome or very pretty looking babies with whatever pretty girl. You're not going to have an ugly baby with me. And it all went to waste. Oh, because guess who gets it now? Why don't you go and create a baby and see what that was really like, how that affects a man? It doesn't matter if you're not the it doesn't matter if you're the caretaker. The biological father gets affected by that because you're his blood, you're his offspring. There's a connection that you can't break. Even if there's no communication, there's something that in that you can't really break. So just went to waste. I don't get that again in life again. That's all I get. And they justify it. People are so smart once they do the harm, that once they did the harm, they know exactly. They did it on purpose because they know that you have no choice in life but to move forward and to show gratitude. Absolutely sealing the doors. Look at my mother. There's nothing that she can do for me, or how she would have been. Oh, I'm just her son. Yeah, I'm her only straight son. I'm supposed to be bringing beautiful babies to her. Nothing. It's for Sarah. It's for Kenneth. And it's for Madison to scum my mother, scum the Mexican race. Go and make Madison, Dana White and the, fighters. Oh, you don't think racism exists? Well, it's white privilege. It's not white privilege over here. And you have opportunities that I don't, and I have to work harder because of that. And black people do, but we're not born with athletic abilities. So, not as intense though, but, it bothers me. And I love my mother very dearly, and hopefully this information is very useful. Venting a little bit, and, one of the reasons I also know that my mother has dementia and is sick is because I notice how when I talk to my mother, her twin, sometimes she'll say something sexual, which is fucking creepy. She says it. Like, I've gotten on the phone before and she goes, I love you. Like, she's like, and I feel like saying, what are you saying this shit for like that? Reason is because I have to stay solid. You have to know how to behave with someone, because just because someone is lost, like my mother, she'll see this beard and she's mentally dysfunctional and she doesn't know, because remember, my mother was raped so many times. My mother was engaging with sexual behavior with my dad, who was gay. So guess what happens? My mother doesn't know which direction of sexual orientation she's trying to go into. Just like Sarah Cooper and Barack Obama wanted. So I have to stay solid. So when you engage, you have to be sort of firm, pleasant to be around, but certain of yourself, and pleasant. Certainly pleasant with the individual. Because my mother you don't want her to be like, that's your son, you're trying to do incest, or you're trying to feel in love with, because she's not around a young man. And she doesn't realize that I'm so much of her son anymore, because now it's like a person. Who's Hector? No, you're going to get Sarah and Ken Cooper for the forgiveness story of everyone else doing it for her. And, President Dana White and President Barack Obama, because, I fucked you in every way. You fucked it all up in your ass, just that, President Barack Obama. They know how to shoot to kill. We know police officers are corrupted. We know detectives are corrupted. We know how to put these lives down. I'm willing to prove every justice way that I am in the right position. I have the most credibility for the safety and knowledge and existence of what this person went through. It went right over there. And I didn't get any of it. So, in this particular situation is kind of why I think that my mother's twin was doing this, to see that if I don't have any wrong mental state, because you have to be able to stay mentally strong and confirmed with the situation, so that you don't want my mother to because she gets confused, because if her brain is gone, she starts to get confused of everything that had happened with her. And she, instead of mixing with herself with, this is my son, I'm your mother, she's like, you're a man, and you're like, oh, and then she'll slip in to some sort of sexual pleasure of, because I'm a man and I'm straight. And that's the problem. And so they have to kind of reconfirm, and this is why they're doing this. And I recognize this. But you're going to get Sarah and Ken Cooper. Let me feel sorry, because it's a job site. Now, why all this has happened, you could have shot and killed, not literally, but you could have put these motherfuckers down. It doesn't change. Mike Standish is probably dead now. Son of a bitch, piece of shit motherfucker's dead. Gary Gwynn, piece of shit motherfucker, and let's feel sorry for you now. Okay, but your kids over there got it, but my brother got his ass raped. I don't give a fuck. Okay, well, this war then. Doesn't matter. They did this to me. The president's ordering it, the psychologist. You played the race card. I wasn't trying to. I got a sister that's half white. Doesn't change anything. My brothers, are pale as white as a motherfucker. It's not going to change anything. My life should have been pleasant of everything I worked for and what my mother went through. Instead, it went to steak dinner, classic soul, and Richard Murphy. And that thing, goddamn, this steak dinner and wine doesn't change anything. So, I do this out of respect, and that's why it bothers me so much, because that's going to be a problem. My mother needs to be able to communicate with affirmation, and this is why they're doing it with her twin. Because her twin has to do it in order for me to gauge healthfully with my mother. And you could tell she's in despair and lost. The way that I'm suffering now as the Ken Cooper representative when I was eating at the Olive Garden. When I was going to these places. Because that's what a pig motherfucker does. Ready to die, the filthy piece of shit motherfucking actions that they did, thinking that what they did was good. Because they know the detective bullshit. Go in your cage and go die in there. But your family's gonna get it. What did I get? Okay, because that's what you put over there. What did my mother do? Oh, she's lost. Oh, I know. You know what Frankie went through. You want to make her son cry again? President Barack Obama and George Bush put that right there. It doesn't change anything. I'm the one you got out of the trash cans. All you did is maybe just a little of this to Ken and Sarah. Sleeping next to cockroaches and trash cans and shit. People spitting, throwing trash at me and throwing me this race card shit environments. And in a lot of environments. Lived like that for years and years. What do you think that existence is in life? What do you think that does to a person? Then I have to be that way. Then I exercise that. Oh, guess what? You found the bad person again now. Look how he's behaving now. You see how Ken Cooper the pig is? You see what suicide is now? It's not going to change anything. But I want to say this because it is too late. They ordered it. They did this directly to my mother. Nobody will ever know those truths and how intense it was. You want to feel sorry for an old piece of shit motherfucker? You can feel sorry for an old motherfucker like that. And an old bitch if you want to. I'm not. I know that old people go out and murder people that are old. Ladies, don't trust. Just because somebody's an old lady, don't trust an old bitch to tell you think that they won't poison you or willing to kill you at some point in your life, and how disgusting they are. Because they waited to get that old till it was too late. Because that's what they did to my mother. Sent their kids. It was just pure burial. But anyway, yeah.